So I want to take a second to talk about sort of where I see the future of this design going, both because I think it's interesting and people might think it's interesting, and because I want to keep my ideas out there in the public domain. I also want to give shout outs to a couple really cool ideas I've heard from other people. So basically what I see as the future of the design is everything moving into a single object. So all the electronics are here. That's the motor controllers, the motors themselves. So basically these chains would just anchor in the corners, and they'd come down, feed over a sprocket, probably have a tensioner, and that gives you one single object. And if you took something like this tablet and mounted it on here, you could really have a single power cord that you plug in, and that would be the machine. And I think that's the way you go from sort of a DIY project to something you could see people buying at the hardware store. That pairs well with an idea that a couple of our backers have brought up, which is the idea of making this frame here foldable. And so that's come up in the context of doing disaster relief work, where you need something which is portable, or if you're trying to make it a job site machine, where you could take it to where you're building a house, set it up, and have a CNC machine on site. I don't think that we're going to require too much different hardware or software to do that. Really, these motors could just be moved down and mounted on here, and that would be all there is to it. So we'll probably see that in the not too distant future. The other cool thing about that is if you made this frame foldable, basically you wouldn't even have to, it already takes up very little space for how big it is. But if you could collapse it and set it in a corner when you don't need it, it would take up almost no space, which would make it even more accessible to more people. Some other really cool ideas people are talking about. There's a group in the forums discussing a gantry, which I think sounds really cool. So basically there would be rails here and here, or here and here, and then a gantry that came across. That might let you do 3D work. It would probably add some more stability. Someone also discussed flipping the router over. So instead of cutting into the backboard here, you'd be cutting out, and you'd mount whatever you're going to cut up here. That would let you do 3D work. Yeah, there's lots of really cool ideas being floated around. So check them out in the forums.